You're watching KWWL. We've got you covered. This is Today in Iowa.
And good morning to you. You are looking live at downtown Waterloo on this Sunday morning. This is a live picture for you from a KWWL drone showing you downtown Waterloo as we continue to cover the threat of flooding. Now, the Cedar River in downtown Waterloo, as you can see from this video right here, as we overlook downtown, it is still very fast, rushing this morning. The levels have gone down, which is very good to hear, but still a major flooding concern this morning in Waterloo.
And this morning on this special edition of Today in Iowa, we are tracking flooding from start to finish. We have Team 7 coverage with live reports, video, and pictures to show you across eastern Iowa.
Good morning. Well, as you can see, the Cedar River is definitely gaining ground right here in Waverly. We've been here all morning, keeping a very close eye on it, and we got here right at about 5 o'clock. And as you can see, right at my toes at 5 o'clock, it was bone dry.
It's been raining here since around 5 last night, and the rain did stop around 10 this morning. Now, I'm going to step out of the way here so you can see this. This is Shell Rock River, and all morning it's been just spilling into roads and backyards, homes and businesses. Now, take a look at this video. As you can see, a lot of debris has been floating by in the river. I've seen everything from what looks like a large dock to large branches to a big storage bin. Now, I've been speaking with Butler County Emergency Management and the Butler County Sheriff all morning. They say some people did have to be evacuated this morning. Around 80 homes have been impacted by the water.
Welcome to a live special edition of the KWWL News Saturday night here at 6 o'clock from downtown Waterloo, as Iowans have been working very hard these past few days to save their homes and businesses from the floodwaters of 2016. Okay, so let's begin with some of the video that we've been taking throughout the day as part of our flood coverage all across the KWWL viewing area. The high water from about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and this is from the KWWL drone, and this is in Waterloo. The water has been steadily rising to the downtown bridges, several of which, as you know, remain closed, including the Park Avenue Bridge downtown. The main thoroughfares, though, are still open, including Mullen and First, so those are always going to stay open unless it would be a real drastic situation, but they are open still.
And here is the KWWL drone video over Cedar Falls just a few hours earlier. This is over the downtown area. The community response is very strong there. Water creeping up on the railroad bridge there. It was easily overtaking the trails along the river. Storm Track 7 reporters are in places at different places all along the Cedar River and elsewhere tonight.
You can just hear how powerful these waters are as they're rushing in, and they're coming in fast. A lot of these downtown businesses now preparing for flooding.
But starting at 8 o'clock tonight, there will be another curfew for all of those closed off parts of Cedar Rapids. That means no one is allowed in, and that's because this water is continuing to rise.
This is going on right now here in Vinton. The Cedar River is starting to spill into town. In fact, because of flooding on the street behind me here off to the left, they are starting to block off this area.
Well, that's right. I've never seen anything quite like it. Earlier tonight, I was shooting video at the Cedar River when a group of people started screaming when they saw a deer jump in the water and then start to struggle. It was pretty intense. Take a look.
You're hearing people yelling as they watch a deer getting swept away in the Cedar River, knowing there's nothing they can do as the river rages. Moments later, the deer gets stuck here at the 4th Street Bridge, causing quite the spectacle.
My daughter called 911, and then another lady just called the police department. And then the police department said that they couldn't do anything. They don't think they could do anything. She's going to have to just try to swim to shore.
Knowing the deer would eventually get exhausted and die, these men act fast.
Deer was in the water, stuck, baby deer with noticeable wounds, so we just wanted to get the deer out of the water to safety.
Jamad Salas held as this Evansdale man jumped in the water with his life jacket on, strapped in the deer, and then they pulled it to safety, all while keeping a sense of humor.
Hey, don't forget about me. It feels good, man, to see the city coming together in the midst of something like this, man, to come together to be able to save wildlife. You know, it's a lot of animals who won't be able to make it through this flood, so we're able to help an animal, and that feels pretty good.
Not knowing what to do with the deer, the three men decided to keep hold of it, drive it out of town, and then let it free.
You gonna ride in the back with us? So to see Waterloo coming together, it's a beautiful thing.
And that Evansdale man you saw right there did not want to be on camera or interviewed tonight, but he was praised for his good deed by everyone in the area. We've got you covered live in Waterloo. McLeod Hageman, KWWL News.
It is possible that some bridges will close. When the river hits 24 feet in Waterloo, bridges begin to close. And yesterday, the city was planning to close the Railroad Bridge, Westfield Avenue, 11th Street, Park Avenue, and the 18th Street bridges.
I've also gotten a couple questions today about the railroad cars on this bridge here. They are there to stabilize the bridge. In fact, I talked to somebody with Canadian Pacific today who tells me anytime the river levels reach 98 feet, they do that.
And here is a live look in real time from our KWWL drone of some devastating parts of Cedar Rapids. You can just tell how high the water is in that neighborhood in Cedar Rapids.
Well, on one side of the HESCO barriers there, completely dry, and you saw green.
Yes.
Go right over the other side, and you see all of that water.
All of that water, of course, from Cedar Falls is heading on the Cedar River downstream. It's going to take a few hours, but the water will be here where we are, right down here in the heart of downtown Waterloo between the bridges.
Water making powerful waves along the Wapsie River in Independence, creeping up along the backs of businesses, even seeping into some neighborhoods.
On the other side of the river, road closures because of flooded streets. It's something people here are familiar with, especially after the 2008 flood. This home now surrounded by cement blocks to keep the water out. The homeowner says she's getting ready for the worst.
The river is still moving fast. It's very dangerous, almost looking like big ocean waves here.
Yes, thanks for joining us and waking up with us on this Sunday morning. And, you know, we've talked to a lot of people here just in the last couple of hours about the threat of flooding and what we should be telling you, what we need to know. A very big thing is that the rivers have crested in Cedar Falls and Waterloo. That threat is moving further downstream, though, this morning, something that we're going to be on top of all morning long.
We're so glad you're here. We have extensive flooding coverage for you this morning.
Now, for those of you who worked late into the night sandbagging in eastern Iowa, this is really the last thing that they needed. More rain. Showers moving through eastern Iowa overnight, dropping even more rain on cities and towns that are already waterlogged. That rain forcing the city of Waterloo to shut down more streets overnight. Look at that video. What you're looking at right there is East First and Sycamore near the post office. The streets underwater there, flash flooding, forcing several drivers to turn around.
Butler County Emergency Management tells me many roads are starting to flood. This is far from over.
And in fact, let's take a look at this video because our crew was able to take a boat today with Mayor Jim Brown. Here's a look at North Cedar Elementary. The playground almost completely underwater. And look closely, you can see homes and trees just taken over. Even a man in a kayak. He was cruising through a flooded out neighborhood. Now, these homes are only accessible right now by boat.
I'm told the residents had to be relocated because the water you see here is now gaining ground. I talked to the nursing home manager who says this is the first time that they've ever had to evacuate, and she assures me everyone is safe. Residents were relocated to 4 different assisted facilities between here and Waverly. Sue Lodge tells me she's sure her nearly 94-year-old mother is safe, but not sure where she is.
Thank you very much. Let's take you up in the air again. Our great aerial shots of what's been happening here the last 5 days. As we started to the north, we're down here in Cedar Rapids live here tonight. This is the live KWWL drone view over the waters of the Cedar River in Cedar Rapids. The river will crest at its highest point sometime tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock, Mark believes. That crest, the early crest anyway, projected at 23 feet, Amanda. They're hoping maybe it will become in lower than that. That would be the best news of all.
Absolutely, but many roads and bridges will, in fact, be underwater. In 2008, the river crested at 31 feet. A lot of lessons learned back in 2008 to help lower that risk for today. You want to watch out for scams. This is unfortunate, but this is reality. Police warning of scams are already happening. Contractors, people asking to get your water out of your basement. Be alert.
Now take a look at this video. A large truck actually did take a big risk this morning right as I was about to go live. It drove through a very flooded area. Now it is advised that you do not do this, but the driver did make it out safe.
Thousands of people were urged to leave their homes in Cedar Rapids. Storm Track 7's Lauren Moss is live there for us right now.
Allie, Literally dozens of people spent the night here, including 20 children. So volunteers have been working around the clock trying to make this place feel a little bit like home.
And the river, again, is rising. It's a kind of a steady and slow rise, but we are still forecasting that 23-foot crest here as we head into tomorrow morning. And, as this river continues to rise, once it gets up to 22.2 feet, so that's about a foot more to go, the water reaches the bottom of the 2nd Avenue bridge deck in downtown Cedar Rapids. Once we get to 22.5 feet, that water reaches the top of a levee along the 1st Street Southwest.
What you're looking at right here live is the Nubo neighborhood in Cedar Rapids. You've got Tornado's Grub and Pub there. You also have Kickstand Bar, both taking on water along with other businesses in that neighborhood. This is along 2nd Street and 13th Avenue Southeast, and they were bracing for water in this neighborhood. HESCO barriers were put up, and in reality, they did do a very good job protecting many homes and businesses, but the city says it could not cover everything because in some places the ground was just too uneven. And you can see in the background there, the line. There's a white line of what would be those HESCO barriers that are put up, basically that flood wall that had been built over the last couple of days.
And the city's asking everyone to just stay out of the downtown area. Again, many bridges are still closed this morning, and be sure to keep an eye out for pooling. There's some areas behind me here, and 1st Street near the post office is also closed.
Take a look at this from the 11th Street Bridge. People within inches of that rushing water, despite police and other first responders telling them to stay away. As a reminder, first responders say it is still dangerous and to use extreme caution if you're out and about.
Welcome back to the News at Noon. Thank you so much for being with us. We are live in the sky. Our KWL drone is flying over Cedar Rapids right now. What you're seeing is real time. It's a devastating look. We are seeing just how high the water is in this neighborhood in Cedar Rapids. Water believed to be at its crest point there, 22 feet, which is lower than original projections, but at the same time, it's still hard to see.
Businesses absolutely surrounded by water in this neighborhood. And like you said, it's hard to look at this.
Now just back from Green, where those football players are doing a fantastic job in the cleanup recovery, Mark.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ron, the residents of Green, they got the help they severely needed. This is actually one of the few communities that got both storm damage as well as flood damage, and they had some football players helping out today, taking off their cleats and putting on their work boots.
Nearly 130 players from Osage, West Fork, and Riceville put on their work clothes, then put in the work to help out a rival.
Well, a number of neighborhoods here in Cedar Falls, especially in the North Cedar area, still underwater. But in fact, I talked to one woman today whose husband had to pick up their kids on a four-wheeler.
And when we got here at about 5 o'clock into 5:30 as well, you could see the bottom post of that fence. But as you can see right now, that bottom post is just completely submerged in water. I've been keeping in very close contact with the city administrator. He's briefing first responders throughout the day as to their plan of attack, as to what they're going to be doing. I've been talking to the Iowa Department of Transportation. They're keeping a close eye on folks here as well.
Now, we can tell you more roads could be closed in Waverly because of the high water there. Another community affected by the high water. The city said that it did expect the Cedar to crest in Waverly this morning at 13.2 feet.
Now, a big reason businesses back open down here, well, that's thanks to an incredible effort by this community. Check out this awesome drone video of the massive sandbagging operation that took place along the river here earlier.
This is video from the Bremer County Sheriff's Office. They flew their drone over Waverly a few days ago at about the time the Cedar River was going to crest. The Sheriff's Office saying the inflatable dam put in was a big help. And today, the emergency shelter at Grace Baptist Church in Waverly will close.
And we do have a lot of good news right now out of Green today. Butler County Emergency Management says the water, it's going down fast, so things are improving. The city is already starting to think about cleanup for early next week.
And the city says it's still working on fixing the wastewater treatment plant. For now, people in Charles City, including Maple Heights, are being asked to avoid flushing, showering, washing the dishes, or doing laundry.
A raging river reaches its peak, and some are breathing a sigh of relief right now. It is still a dangerous situation, but this will not look like 2008.
You are looking live at a KWWL drone over Cedar Rapids as the Cedar River crested at about 22 feet, a foot lower than what we thought earlier this morning. And we were escorted back to an isolated spot to show you some of the flooding. As Jerry said, this is still very serious. The river well above flood stage. As of yesterday, there was still water behind North Cedar Elementary School. We heard from the school district today. They are telling us water did not get into that school, so that is good to hear. As students back in school today in the Cedar Falls district.
It's still open. I want to mention, I just walked inside. There's actually a Cedar Rapids police officer inside playing with some of the children. She's coloring right now. A very special moment for families who are going through a lot right now. We've got you covered live in Cedar Rapids. I'm Lauren Moss, KWWL News.